Hello and welcome to CapacityTV. I'm with Michael Wheeler from NTT Communications. Hi Michael.
Thanks for having me today.
Obviously network security is a big issue at the moment. Just wanted to see what NTT Com does to deal with network security, how you guys are handling that.
Yeah, for us, network security is one of our probably highest priorities for a couple of reasons. Certainly for our network, we want to make sure and protect it and make sure that we're able to deliver service to our customers. And then we also have several kind of offerings to customers that provide them network security kind of on an outsourced basis to us. So we've done a number of things in regards to just the basic building blocks of how we built the network and the architecture that's in place to help us. We have some of our own kind of in-house built software and services that we utilize, as well as some external third-party vendor devices that we use for scrubbing of traffic in case of a DDoS attack or something like that. And so again, we'll use those items in relationship to protecting our network as well as protecting the networks of our customers who subscribe to those services. Our main one is called DDoS Protection Service. And there are a couple varieties of it, a couple flavors of it, but basically it provides a few different ways in which we can help address attacks for customers. We also have some available tools that we allow customers to use regarding BGP. So there's black holing and selective black holing as well that are just kind of attributes that we provide them if they have a connection with us. So any customer has to have a number of different tools they use to defend themselves against those kinds of network attacks, and we provide as many of those as we can to them. But many customers will employ other devices as well on top of what we would provide to them.
So switching to network expansion, what was the thinking behind adding the new POPs in Frankfurt and Berlin to your existing sites in Germany?
We added those locations primarily because of our acquisition of eShelter. So we, in general terms, look at adding sites in buildings where we know that our customers are either currently at or will be in the future. And so we have a business case assessment that we do for each one of those locations. In the cases of Berlin and Frankfurt recently, eShelter was an acquisition that we did as a broader company, NTT-wide, about a year ago. And ultimately adding our footprint of those sites was just part of kind of the combination of the services that eShelter has to offer at a co-location level and then our network there.
So what markets might be next for expansion?
We look at markets on a regular basis. We actually look at new markets as well as we look at buildings in existing markets. As you can imagine, the business cost or the business case assessment that gets involved in going to a new market is quite a bit more than just adding a building in a market that we're already in. So we do a little less frequent new market build-outs as just the cost structures are a bit higher. But we look at both buildings and markets on a regular basis, and we're looking in places right now. Certainly there's spots in Europe that we aren't currently. Latin America is certainly a marketplace, is a region that we are looking at and probably will be doing something in the near future there. And then also in the US, there's 2 or 3 markets that we aren't in today that we kind of look at regularly to see if there's the right revenue opportunity and the right cost structure in place to roll into.
So NTT's been one of the pioneers in new technologies such as SDN. I just wondered what positive results have you seen since the implementation?
Yeah, we've been running an SDN controller, which is what we call it, for over 15 years in our network. It's a core part of what allows our network operations to run efficiently and effectively. And so it's certainly grown a lot and matured over those 15 years. But as far as the effectiveness of it, it's been highly effective. It certainly allows us to manage our OpEx cost in a very important way. But it also provides a lot of functionality and kind of speed to market for innovation for customers. I mean, a lot of the things that will add to that existing structure today are tied to kind of customer requests or things that we see that customers may want to be able to deploy. And we templatize those once we've used them kind of on a standalone basis and roll them into our overall SDN structure. So for us, it's a critical part of our operation. It's a critical part of what allows us to provision customers quickly and have their services run effectively. And ultimately, there's a lot of varieties of SDN and even NFV if you go into that conversation as well. And we feel like we'll just continue to do more and more of that going forward, and particularly really looking to what our customers are asking for and kind of growing that system and that controller based around those kinds of requirements.
And of course, you're deploying 100G technology. Just wondered how that's going and what trends you're seeing from customers.
Yeah, 100 gig, initial deployments were a little over 3 years ago on the backbone, and then we started deploying to customers about 2 years ago. At this point, really pretty much the entire global network is 100 gig capable. There are a couple smaller spots in Asia that but there's just not a requirement yet. But in general terms, the deployment has gone very well for us, both on a backbone level and for customer-facing port requirements. What we saw initially was a bit of a slow uptick, which we anticipated to be the case, mostly because the cost on the CapEx side was definitely not a benefit yet. That's really changed, and even from the beginning of this year, we've seen customers really moving more and more towards 100 gig, particularly as they're growing and adding incremental amounts of capacity. So for us, we think it's gone very well, but to be quite honest, it's going to continue to be a driver for bandwidth requirement and capacity for the next several years.
That's brilliant. Thank you very much, Michael, for speaking to Capacity TV.
Thanks for having me.